Good morning, Corpus, Christi, Coastal Bend, and listeners worldwide. Welcome on in to another edition of the Sunday Sports Rush right here on News Talk KEYS, 1440 AM and 98.7 FM. I am your host, James Espinosa, leading the sports charge on a Sunday morning, as I always do. It's episode 139, and I am joined by my co-host producer, one of my dear good friends. It's Aiden Ducker.
What's Gucci with it?
We also have in the building, he's ready to gloat. He's ready to throw it in Aiden and I's Astros fans' faces. He's ready to celebrate a World Series championship. It is none other than Marcos Marroquin in the house.
Thanks, James. How you doing, man? It's been a while.
It has. It's been a while. It feels good to hear your voice.
Hey, chill.
Coming through those beautiful microphones that
Appreciate
we have
it,
here.
Man. At
the MIC Malkin Interactive Studios, the Key Studios, all that good stuff. It's good to have Marcos in here.
Sorry, I slipped. That was supposed to be the clap.
It was supposed to be a clap. It was.
I don't know why. I'll have to fix it.
Yes, a little misfire on Aiden's part. But we want you to join us as well. So hit us up on the text line, 361-882-5397. That is 361-882-5397. Just a little tease ahead of what's coming up in the first hour. At 9:50, he just might be him. He's out of this world. I told you what this guy was going to be. Wemby arrived, and the Spurs had one of the most exciting weeks in recent history in Phoenix. We'll talk all that and more at 9:50. At 9:30, we coronate the Texas Rangers with their World Series championship. Marcos will give his firsthand, lifelong Ranger fan takes while Aiden and I just kind of sit here and give our thoughts on the Rangers and everything involved with that. At 9:20, we memorialize a major sports death. We also have some epic audio of this person who just recently passed. You're not going to want to miss that. Right now, though, question of the day to the listening audience. And it's simple. It's Cowboys and Eagles game day. What else would I be asking you? I just want to know your take. What's going down today in Philadelphia at 3:30 p.m. Central Time? Who wins, Cowboys or Eagles? Give me some of your players of the game. Give me some of your bold takes, some of your predictions. I need it on the text line the way I need air to breathe. 361-882-5397. I want to hear from you guys out there. Who wins between the Cowboys or the Eagles? A huge game. First place in the NFC East on the line, and quite possibly the inside track to the number one seed in the NFC, period. Huge game. I cannot stress that enough. Get in on the text line, 361-882-5397.
It's one of the most toxic weeks in all of NFL. Whenever the Cowboys and Eagles just meet against each other.
It has been toxic. And look, I got some Eagles fans on my timeline. I do like to follow some Philadelphia media just to kind of keep tabs with what the Eagles are doing. That's just the kind of sicko I am. I follow the other team's media because I like to know. I like to know who's injured. I like to know who's doing good at practice. I'm a sports sicko like that. And yes, it is getting heated on those X streets. So let's go ahead and let's kick off the show with some college football. We'll get to some Eagles and Cowboys here in a little bit. I want to start with that team up in Austin, Texas. Because yesterday, the Longhorns, with Malik Murphy as their backup quarterback, making his second consecutive start in place of the injured Quinn Ewers, they survived a tough, hard-fought game against those Kansas State Wildcats. And goodness gracious, it came down to overtime. It's 33-30 Texas. It's a 4th and goal from the 4-yard line. Kansas needs to score a touchdown to win, or they could simply kick a field goal to send it to double overtime.
Yeah, I was shocked when they decided to pass up the field goal for the 4th down off of the 4-yard line, I believe.
That is right. Kleiman, the head coach of Kansas State.
That's even bigger than 2-point conversion territory. Like that, I think 2-point conversion is like 3 yards.
Very controversial call. Should he have kicked the field goal? He said, nope, we're in Austin. We're on the road. I want to go for the win. Here is the audio of the last play of the game, courtesy of Gus Johnson and Fox.
Empty backfield. Howard looking. Howard scrambles. Howard lets it go. Incomplete. And Texas survives.
They survive.
33-30, the final in overtime.
Hook 'em freaking horns.
Now that's the good Gus Johnson.
They
That's
survive.
the one where his voice is on the brink of cracking.
Is that-
that's the good Gus Johnson
Is that
we know.
good Gus Johnson? I mean, really?
I think you could say that's a good old Gus. I don't know if you actually say
I mean,
that's
in
like-
other aspects of the world, that is good. But anyway,
My point is, okay, I love Gus. Amazing call. He loses his S. I lost my S.
that was a good call.
Yeah, it was, and it was exciting. And it's Texas now moves to 8-1 overall, 5-1 in the Big 12, and Kansas State was arguably probably their toughest matchup left until they reached the Big 12 title game.
Yeah, and I would see some, and UT up 27-7, and I looked at the score and I took a quick nap. I was like, okay, UT has this in the bag. I don't even need to watch the rest of the game.
But in typical UT fashion, even with a 27-7 lead, they start to sell. Turnovers, fumble, interception thrown by Malik Murphy, which was absolutely horrendous.
UT's been a horrendous third quarter team this year.
Kansas State started attacking that secondary, and that's the weakness of Texas. The secondary is not great. Tons of injuries back there for the Longhorns. Kansas State started attacking. Thankfully, UT hung on to win. UT's next upcoming 3 games. The last 3 games of the regular season look like this. Next week at TCU.
Okay, that should be a win.
The following week at Iowa State.
Iowa State's playing a little bit better now. That might be another one of those. I wouldn't say it's close like this game, but I feel like it's going to be in the fourth quarter, one possession game.
And then, last game of the season, day after Thanksgiving, Friday the 24th, versus Texas Tech in Austin. So 3 games.
They should be able to get their revenge in that game. They should not have lost to them last season, but I feel like UT would be more focused to play Tech then.
And as it stands right now, Texas is currently number 1 in the Big 12 because yesterday, Oklahoma, a.k.a. Choklahoma, they lost to Oklahoma State in the
Bedlam.
last ever Bedlam game for the foreseeable future. Oklahoma falls. So now, Oklahoma has now fallen down the Big 12 standings.
Yeah, and they're probably out of the playoff picture now.
Which
so.
now they have 2 losses. So this is if the season ended today, it would be Texas versus Oklahoma State in the Big 12 championship game.
Yeah, and I think does Oklahoma State already have a couple losses?
They have 2 losses, but they
Okay.
have 1 loss in conference.
Yeah, but there's way more on the stakes for UT though when that game comes.
And let's go ahead.
If it comes.
Let's go over the top 10 while we're at it. We have a few minutes left in this segment. If you got any takes to get in on the college football slate, make sure you get in 361-882-5397. We want to hear from you fans out there. Number 1, Ohio State, 35, Rutgers 16. Ohio State is number 1.
They shouldn't be number
The
1.
College Football Playoff Committee said, you are number 1. Kyle McCord, 3 touchdown passes, 1 interception. Travion Henderson, 5 receptions, 80 yards. I mean, look, Rutgers at a point had the lead, but Ohio State on the road just smothered them in the second half.
Ohio State's a good fourth quarter team. So
Yeah.
I'll give them that, but I still think Georgia should be ranked number 1.
Speaking of Georgia, go ahead, Marcos.
Is it just me or does Ohio State not really feel like a number 1 team this year?
They've
They've been playing great football still. I mean, obviously they've beat everybody coming in front of them and all that stuff, but they don't really feel like a number 1 that we've had like the last couple
I
of years.
don't think they're as dominant like a number 1 should be.
Yeah.
But then again, this year in college football, there's not really a total dominant team unless you're looking at the likes of a Michigan or a Florida State, which have been dominating opponents all season long. Even Georgia, they've been struggling, which number 2 Georgia yesterday defeated Missouri, number 12 Missouri, 30-21, and this game was highly contested. Georgia had a 14-point third quarter to spring open the lead. Carson Beck, 2 touchdowns. Luke McConkey, wide receiver for Georgia, 7 receptions, 95 yards. Oh, lad McConkey.
And Missouri
He's a
played
Scottish lad.
Missouri played Georgia pretty tough last year. Remember when
They
Georgia had to come back? Missouri's a good team, so I didn't expect that was going to be an easy game for Georgia, and it wasn't. But Georgia, the last few seasons, they've been winning these games that they usually lose whenever it gets tight. So yeah.
But look, they're a championship pedigree team, and they're being tested. Everybody is giving Georgia their best shot. And Georgia, week after week, is finding ways to win.
And then most likely, unless Bama gets upset against Kentucky, they'll most likely will play Bama in the SEC title game. So, I mean, they'll still have a chance to prove themselves again there. But yeah.
Moving on, number 3, Michigan defeats Purdue 41-13 amidst the scandal that's currently happening with Michigan and the stealing of signs and all that stuff. So there's a lot to still unfold with that. Just know that Connor Stallions, the graduate assistant who was accused of stealing these signs, has resigned from Michigan amid investigations.
Yeah, future Raiders head coach Jim Harbaugh.
Maybe Connor Stallions can come and join the Astros organization.
Come on, man. You're an Astros fan.
But hey, look, self-deprecation.
Hey,
Self-deprecation.
I know.
He could join Dana Brown in his front
we're
office.
We're already coronating South Oklahoma right here. We gotta,
361-882-5397. Get in on the text line. Number 4, Florida State handles Pittsburgh 24-7 on the road.
They should win the ACC. I'm now bought into they probably are a playoff team unless they stumble against like a North Carolina or something like that.
A battle of top 20 teams. Number 5, Washington, goes on the road to USC, who was ranked number 20, and they defeat USC in a crazy-ass game, 52-42. This game was wild. This game was 35-28, Washington at the half. They kept trading. Caleb Williams had 3 touchdowns, over 312 yards. Michael Penix Jr. was making some crazy plays. Johnson, the running back from Washington, went off for 26 carries, 256 yards rushing, and 4 touchdowns. That's absurd.
I gotta say, USC's defensive coordinator, Alex Weister, has to have some blackmail material against Lincoln Riley for him to still have a job.
Yeah. And then, of course, after the game, they showed Caleb Williams crying once again, but this time in the arms of his mother. This is like the 3rd or 4th game in a row that they have showed Caleb Williams just absolutely distraught on the sidelines.
Some people are saying that's a negative. I don't feel like it's a negative at all.
Look, this is my thing, and I
that at least shows teams that he's passionate about the game.
Yes, I tell my students this all the time. I said you gotta hate losing more than you love winning, because that's gonna drive you in life. If you hate to lose, that is a great sign. I love that. I'm not gonna hate on Caleb Williams for showing emotion like that. The dude wants to win. It's not his fault that his defensive coordinator and his defense is reminiscent of saloon doors. Just in and out. Anybody.
And they kept the same defensive coordinator last year. And when they gave up 40 to Tulane, you'd think they would have made changes, but no. And it's a wasted season for USC.
Couple more scores. Number 6, Oregon smashes California 63-19. Nothing much to be said about that one.
I feel good about Oregon's chances. We just need Bama to lose to Georgia. Another UT loss would be helpful. I feel good about Oregon's chances to make the playoffs a little bit more now.
And for Texas, you probably need Washington to lose. You probably need Oregon to maybe lose. You might need Alabama to lose.
Georgia needs to beat Alabama if Alabama makes the SEC title game.
Yes.
So that needs to happen.
For Texas to get in. Yes. Yes.
Michigan and Ohio State are going to play against each other.
Eliminated. One of them.
Yeah, one of them. And then
Georgia and Alabama will eliminate each other. But you need Georgia to beat Alabama, so Alabama has 2 losses.
Yeah, because Georgia's probably a shooting for one of those
because
spots.
a 1-loss Georgia and a 1-loss Bama, if Bama is the SEC champion, both of them get in my opinion.
Probably, yeah.
And then that leaves Texas and Oregon out, and maybe even Washington out.
There's still a few more weeks
There's a lot left to be played, of course, and that's going to pretty much wrap up our college football discussion. Alabama did beat LSU 42-28. Real quickly, Milroe had 4 rushing touchdowns. Daniels for LSU had a hell of a ball game. He's a Heisman contender as well. Neighbors, the wide receiver for LSU, 171 yards, 10 receptions, 1 touchdown. But Alabama pulls away late, had 14 points in the 3rd quarter to get through and beat LSU at home. Alabama looks good. I like what I'm seeing out of Milroe. He's one of my favorite players to watch. He's a deep ball thrower. Not the most accurate intermediate thrower, but, man, he's such an athlete. He is fun to watch. I like that kid.
Alabama's a good team because of their talent. I just don't think they're going to beat Georgia in the title game.
So there we go. College football wrapped up the only way we know how to do it. Rapid fire real quickly. College football. Get your takes in on the text line 361-882-5397. When we come back, we memorialize one of the greatest coaches to ever live. He passed away this week, and we got some epic audio from him as well. Keep it locked. It's the Sunday Sports Rush. Sunday Sports Rush, episode 139. It's James, it's Adin, and it's Marcos with you. Coming up in 15 minutes, yes, the team in Arlington. You know what? Damn it, I got to put some respect on their name. The Texas freaking Rangers. They won the World Series, and we will coronate them as we do on the Sunday Sports Rush. And Marcos is in here. He's ready to talk some Rangers. Hitting up the text line, 361-882-5397. I got Ryan L. in here. Ryan L. has a take on what happened this past week between Flower Bluff and Gregory Portland. This is Ryan L.'s take, high school football talk. He says, as a Flower Bluff alumni, I've been a part of many high-scoring games, but I've never seen anything like scoring 49 points in the first half against a powerhouse GP team. I listened to your full broadcast Friday night. I think we might see each other again in the playoffs. Interesting. Yeah, it was shocking, Ryan. Look, the way I said it on the broadcast, and we'll talk about this game specifically in the last segment of the show. We got some high school football talk coming up for you. But the way I described it in the broadcast after the Cameron Dixon pick six for 51 yards, which put Flower Bluff up at the time 42-7, stunned silence from the Gregory Portland crowd. Just jaws dropped. Even myself in the broadcast booth, I was shocked at what I was seeing. So I agree with you, Ryan, in that aspect, and maybe they can eventually see each other down the line in the playoffs, but it'll take a lot of winning to do that.
I think it is like a little worrisome if you're a GP faithful.
I think so too.
Because they got punched in the mouth immediately.
They didn't know how to respond.
They didn't know how to respond at all.
Yeah. It was tough. Let's go ahead and let's hit the 920 news.
There's a lot of news.
And now the news.
We lost a legend this past week. He was born in 1940. He died on November the 1st, 2023. Bob Knight. Robert Montgomery Knight.
Bob Knight.
a.k.a. the General, who won 902 NCAA Division I men's basketball games, a record at the time of his retirement, and currently 5th all-time. Knight was the head coach of the Indiana Hoosiers from 1971 all the way until 2000. He did coach the Texas Tech Red Raiders from 2001 to 2008. He is a Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Famer. Bob Knight, dead at the age of 83.
The three-time champion.
Yeah, three-time champion, man.
He also has the last undefeated team.
I was just about to say the undefeated Indiana team, one of the greatest
76?
teams ever. Yes, one of the greatest teams ever. NCAA titles. He coached the U.S. men's Olympic team to a gold medal in 1984.
And I think in 81 he had Isaiah Thomas on that team in 1981. That was his second chip.
Went to 5 Final Fours, 11 Big Ten regular season championships. He won the 2-time Henry Iba Award, Naismith College Coach of the Year Award, 3-time AP Coach of the Year, 5-time Big Ten Coach of the Year. Just the accolades are there. College Basketball Hall of Famer in 2006. It's look, he was very controversial. He's
probably the most known like in the college basketball world as being the most like hard-headed.
Just hardcore. Just you know.
I know Saban has that reputation in college football.
Look, they don't make them like they made Bob Knight. If a coach came out and tried to implement what Bob Knight did back in the day,
it's not gonna fly.
It would not fly. Like Bob Knight allegedly would put his hands on players, choke his players, hit his players, like slap them or even punch them at times.
He had that chair throw.
Threw the chair across the court that one time. He was verbally abusive, at times physically abusive. But I mean, look, that was Bob Knight.
But I'll tell you what, he won basketball.
But yeah,
games.
he won a lot of basketball game and championship. I'll tell you what, he sure did for them Indiana Hoosiers up in the Midwest. Let's go ahead and play some epic audio that we have of Bob Knight. Now, Aiden, do you know exactly where this audio is from? I know it's like a halftime.
It sounds like a practice, to be honest with you.
It's a practice, and I think they're getting ready to play Purdue.
This was in the early 90s, between 91 and 94, because he was talking about Greg Graham, who was one of his players.
Okay.
So, and I think they made the Final Four one of those years.
Now,
so.
let me preface this. It took me 5 minutes to edit this audio. It's about a minute or so long. This was the greatness of Bob Knight, or even as some people might say, what made Bob Knight hated. Listen to the way he tries to fire up his team as they prepare to play a game against Purdue later on that week.
Want to play that I'm getting the out of here. I mean, if you're not going to recover Greg Graham, if you're just going to let him drive by you, if the rest of you are going to let him catch the ball outside the 3-second lane and drive all the way in here without one guy challenging him, then I'm leaving and you guys will run till you can't even suffer. Now, I'm tired of this shit. I'm sick and fucking tired of an 8-10 record. I'm fucking tired of losing to Purdue. I'm not here to fuck around this week. Now, you may be, but I'm not. Now, I'm going to fucking guarantee you that if we don't play up there Monday night, you aren't going to believe the next 4 fucking days. Now, I am not here to get my ass beat on Monday. Now, you better fucking understand that right now. This is absolute fucking bullshit. Now, I'll fucking run your ass right into the ground. I mean, I'll fucking run you. You'll think last night was a fucking picnic. I had to sit around for a fucking year with an 8-10 record in this fucking league. And I mean, you will not put me in that fucking position again. Or you will damn pay for it like you can't fucking believe. Now, you better get your head out of your ass.
Wow. Bob Knight. Imagine getting chewed out by Bob Knight like that, dude.
Yeah, and that
Scary.
I mean that's up there. I remember back like 12 years ago. Remember Augie Garrido's rant?
Yes.
Yeah, that was another good one.
That was epic, bro. You're not gonna put me in that blanking position again. Last night would be an effing picnic. We got Dotson Lewis in on the text line, 361-882-5397. Dotson Lewis, Hall of Fame referee. Judge Dotson Lewis, he says, believe it or not, he was a friend. I worked a few of his games. Dotson Lewis with a connection to Bob Knight. R.I.P. to the General, 83 years old.
I'm actually shocked.
One of the greatest coaches ever. One of the most divisive coaches ever. And yeah, I think that's all to be said about Bob Knight. R.I.P. Bob. Stay hard, Bob Knight. There we go. 361-882-5397. Our question of the day. It's simple. Give me your prediction. Cowboys versus Eagles. Who wins? Bold predictions. Give it to me. I need this. Cowboys fans, get in here. Eagles fans, where you at? 361-882-5397. Coming up next, we crown the Texas Rangers World Series champions. It's the Sunday Sports Rush. Keep it locked. Welcome back, Sunday Sports Rush. It's Cowboys versus Eagles game day. We're going to preview that in the second hour, so stick around. Get your takes in on the text line, 361-882-5397. I got George in here real quickly. George D., one of our faithful listeners. George is making a prediction. He says Cowboys 27, Eagles 24. Dak will be ready and accurate in this game of the week matchup. He has a message for Marcos. George says, Marcos, I am a true Astros fan, but I am happy for the Rangers World Series becoming the champions. Have a great show as usual. Thanks. Signed, George D.
Thanks, George. I appreciate that.
Feels good to be a World Series championship fan, doesn't it?
Yeah, and to be honest, I wasn't happy that your season ended. I wasn't.
Be real.
No, I wasn't.
Come on.
As a friend, I
Okay,
didn't like that your season ended. I liked that the Astros season ended. And I liked that. I mean, it was going to end at some point, and I liked that ours
continued.
You
At
know.
the expense of the Astros.
If that's what it took. If that's what it took.
Real quickly, before
Yeah.
we hit the bed music and all that fun stuff, Jerry Plemons, one of our good friends, Crossroads Clinical Research, he wants you to give him a call because right now they're working on a new study that's targeting obesity. So if you're a little bit overweight, need to lose some pounds, let's face facts, we could all lose some poundage. Hit up Jerry Plemons, 361-288-4668, or get scheduled and sign up with him for a consultation. You can reach him at number3cra.com. That is number3cra.com. Crossroads Clinical Research, thank you for sponsoring the show. All right. The Rangers are the World Series champions. They did it in 5 games. They defeated the Diamondbacks 5-0 in Game 5 of the World Series. And it was 3-0 in the 9th inning. Things are looking great for the Rangers. Marcus Semien steps to the plate and pretty much puts a nail in the Diamondbacks' coffin.
You don't mind this Creed Higher bump playing, right?
No, I do not.
I
Yeah.
love it.
The theme song of the Rangers. Let's hear it.
In the air to left center field. Gurriel's back. It is gone! Texas on the verge!
It's a great call. Joe Davis, John Smoltz, who apparently hates the Rangers.
Oh my God.
Ah, dude.
Dude, that was a big controversy that
Oh
John
my
Smoltz
goodness.
had something against the Rangers. I don't know what it was.
Dude, every
Dude,
time
there was
it
a
was so
meme-
annoying.
There was a meme like, man, the Diamondbacks really put themselves in good position to potentially win Game 9.
Now, we have Marcos here, who's a lifelong Rangers fan. This is his moment when Marcus Semien hit that home run to put them up 5-0 in the 9th.
Oh, here it is.
Just describe thoughts, emotions, feelings. Go for it. The floor's yours.
I think Creed is explaining it pretty well.
Nice.
I was taken to a place with golden streets where blind men see. No, it was a great it was a moment, man. It was
Yeah.
a moment, and I felt good about the guys coming out of the pen. I was just like, Spores got it. Leclerc, if he needs to come in, he's got it.
Speaking of Spores, we got the final call. It's lifelong Rangers play-by-play man Eric Nadel,
Oh, that was a moment.
who
too.
is one of my favorite play-by-play guys. We used to have the Rangers on this station, and Eric Nadel was the play-by-play man you would hear on 1440 Keys during that 3-year period where we had the Rangers. Eric Nadel, the final call.
Hall of Famer.
Spores on the mound. Rangers win the World Series.
Spores kicks and fires. He struck him out looking. It's over. It's over. The Rangers have won the World Series. Ranger fans, you're not dreaming. The Rangers are the World Series champions. After 52 years in Texas, 63 years of the franchise. The wait is over. And the celebration has begun.
Nice. That kind of gave me chills right there.
No, the Rangers fans, you're not dreaming.
Yeah.
That hit, dude. That got me pretty emotional. I'm not gonna lie, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it should, man. It should.
Marcos, are those Nelson Cruz unable to catch a fly ball demons as big as they used to
Yeah,
be?
honestly. 'Cause
I mean, honestly, if there was
ahead.
a couple balls hit in Houston and then in Arizona Game 1. Do you remember? I think Corbin Carroll had hit a shot in like the bottom of the or top of the 9th.
Yes.
And Adolis made a great run at it, jumping, leaping, grab at the wall. That's pretty much the exact same ball that went over the head of Nelson Cruz. So, I mean, and it was kind of a weird moment to think about those 2010, 2011 teams that have been, like, immortalized in Rangers culture because they've been the only teams to make it that far. And it's been kind of weird to just think about this team and just be like, man, this team is a lot better than those teams.
They did it. They exercised
They
the
did it.
demons of the past. And I listened to a lot of Dallas sports radio, being a Cowboys fan, of course, and a lot of Ranger talk, obviously, this past couple of weeks. But, yeah, a lot of them have brought up the Nelson Cruz moment and how, you know, it's just like an exorcism that happened where they erased that demon from the past. And that's a good moment, man, for fans because, you know, the Rangers, let's face facts, they had always been known as a team that could never get it done, a team that was going to choke on themselves, et cetera, whatever you want to say. But they did it. And Corey Seager was named World Series MVP for the second time in his career. Seager led the way, bashing 3 home runs. He drove in 6 during the 5 games of the World Series while posting, get this, a 1.137 OPS. Now, for those of you who might not know exactly what OPS is, over an 800 OPS, that's pretty great.
That's a great year.
Yeah, over a 900 OPS, you are elite. Over 1,000 OPS, we're talking that's like Hall of Fame levels.
That's one of the best seasons of all time.
Yes.
If you have they call it like
on base. It's on base plus slugging.
Yeah, you could also say like a 1 dot because he had a 1 dot whatever.
Yeah.
And he posted a 1 dot all regular season and the postseason as well. Honestly, if Shohei Ohtani wasn't probably the most talented baseball player that we've ever had, then Corey Seager wins the MVP very easily.
I'm going to say this about Corey Seager, and Marcos and I had this discussion prior to the Flower Bluff and GP game. Marcos asked me a question. He was like, who's the one guy on the Rangers that you would take off the team to put on the Astros? And immediately I said Corey Seager. Like, it wasn't even...
I had to change the question to besides Corey Seager.
But I didn't even hesitate, right?
No, you shouldn't hesitate.
It was just Corey Seager.
Yeah.
I take him in a heartbeat and put him on the Astros.
I probably would put... I mean,
no, it's Corey Seager.
To me, well, because he's been such a boogeyman and such a bad matchup for the Astros. Adolis Garcia, just put him out in the outfield somewhere.
That was my second choice.
Because
Power outfielder.
Seager had that home run in Game 7, but he didn't really do as much as Adolis did in that series.
And let's talk about Seager and his clutch heroics. If not for Seager in that Game 1 home run in the 9th that tied it to send it to extra innings.
Oh, dude, I think
Rangers are down 2-0.
We would have
Possibly.
still been playing into this weekend.
Yeah, Game 7 would have been actually last night if it went to Game 7.
Because, I know the Diamondbacks won Game 2, but it doesn't really matter what happens the previous game. If your starters don't have it, they don't have it.
Yeah.
And I think, who pitched Game 2 for the Rangers?
Uvalde? Montgomery.
Yeah, Montgomery
he gave up 4 runs. It was better than the 4 runs showed, but yeah, I think he gave up 4 runs.
Yeah, I think Kelly had a good game, and y'all could have been down 2-0 entering Arizona. It's a completely different series.
Now, another guy I want to, pay homage to, show some respect to, is, of course, Bruce Bochy.
Oh, legend.
He's just the 6th manager in Major League Baseball history to collect 4 World Series trophies. Bruce Bochy, he's a legend. I tweeted it out. He's a baseball god. I mean, think about it, man. He's a 4-time world champion. He's up there with the likes of in my opinion, the Joe Torres. He's up there with the Tony La Russas.
Well, he has one more than La Russa.
Yeah, he's a legendary coach like that.
Yeah.
And when it's all said and done, he'll go down as one of the greatest managers of all time.
That's the only manager the Rangers would have hired to get them to this point.
I mean, think about it, dude. He sat on the bench for a decade, out of the game, not managing.
In France, dude. He was in France last year.
Chris Young gives him a call, says, hey, we have the team now. We need you to take us over the top. He comes in, and in the first year, they win a World Series. I know a lot of people are going to say, managers don't mean much in baseball. Managers are only good for maybe 5 or 10 wins a year with some of the decisions they make. I think that's false to a degree. I think Bruce Bochy mattered way more than that to the Rangers with some of his in-game tactics, some of his lineup decisions, the way he managed the bullpen.
Dude, when you look at it, there was not easy decisions multiple times throughout this postseason. I mean, obviously, Eovaldi, first of all, coming into the Rays series, was still kind of banged up from his injury.
Yeah.
I remember being very anxious about his start then, and then he pitched great. But Eovaldi and Montgomery are obviously surefire, scratch him in, let him go. But there was multiple times they had to have a bullpen game against the Astros where it was a Heaney-Dunning mix. You did not want to pitch Scherzer ideally. He was making his rehab starts in the ALCS.
And let's talk about, you're talking about bullpen game, that one critical game in the World Series where John Gray.
Oh, he was huge.
I think that was Game 4.
No, Game 3.
Was it Game 3 where he shoved for a few innings and saved the Rangers
Both
bullpen?
games.
No, because that was another game. Game 3, that was another game where the Rangers were kind of in danger of losing, and then they got the 2-run homer from Corey Seager to break it, give him a little bit of breathing room, and the Rangers' pitching was lights out from there on.
Speaking of Seager, Rangers, of course, had their parade in Arlington around Texas Live, Globe Life Field, the old ballpark in Arlington. All there, right? Estimated, I think, 400 to 500,000 fans or so.
I think there was an estimate of 500 to 700.
It was a ton of people out there. And
there was 1.2 million for the Astros, but last year. But
it's all good. It is what it is. But hey, the Rangers won. They're the world champions. The Astros are at home. That sucks, but it is what it is. Now, Corey Seager, though, did take a little bit of a pot shot, I'd say, at Alex Bregman.
No,
and we
was.
actually have the audio. Here's Corey Seager on the stage at the parade. And just a backdrop for you. When the Astros won the AL West, Alex Bregman, they had a video of him in the clubhouse about to pop some bottles, right? And Alex Bregman famously now said, infamously now said, what was
A
it?
lot of people were wondering what the Astros would do if we didn't win the division. I guess we'll never know.
There we go. So now, here's Corey Seager returning fire at the Rangers parade.
I just got one thing to say. You know, everybody was wondering what would happen if the Rangers didn't win the World Series. I guess we'll never know.
Ooh. Look, that's
Yeah.
fine. And you know,
I mean,
I don't mind this. I don't mind the fact that they are trying to build a rivalry. This is a rivalry now. I don't mind it. Do it, Corey Seager.
If anyone can say it, it's Corey.
Yeah.
I mean, he's one of 4 people to ever win 2 World Series MVPs. He's only the second ever position player to win World Series MVP twice, along with Reggie Jackson.
Exactly.
The
Yeah.
other 2 guys who did it
Were
were
Koufax and
Koufax and Bob Gibson.
Bob Gibson. Yeah.
Yep.
Those are 3 of the most legendary players of all time.
I
and
will-
now Corey Seager.
I will say there's 3 things that won the Rangers the World Series. Managing, you got Bruce Bochy. I think that's number 1 thing, was Bruce Bochy being the manager. Number 2, all 9 players in their lineup, there was no automatic outs in that lineup. Even Tavares, their 9-hole hitter, had his good moments. Even Jankowski, when he came for Adolis Garcia, had a couple big
El
hits.
Blondie,
I love
And
as they called him.
Jack-
you know,
Jankowski,
you look at the Astros. We had 3 auto outs with Pena, Tucker, and
Bro,
Maldonado.
the Astros had but in the playoffs, the Astros had 5 auto outs.
Yeah.
Because
No.
Kyle Tucker wasn't worth a damn in the playoffs.
Yeah, you got to get hot.
But
when you-
every player on the Rangers lineup had their moment in this postseason and in against the Astros and the World Series. And then the third was the bullpen was relatively intact. They weren't lights out, but
No, we had our 3 guys that
They
we could rely
found
on. though.
their
Yeah.
bullpen in the playoffs.
Yeah.
They found the bullpen in the playoffs, which is something that's just kind of blows my mind that they did.
besides the Altuve homer, the Rangers bullpen was relatively intact.
And the last note right here before we end this coronation, the Rangers were 11-0 on the road in the playoffs with a run differential of plus 42. Wild.
It's funny how the Astros, we were all celebrating the division win, but that ended up being the
That ended up being the catalyst for the Rangers to go on the road and sweep the Rays and go on the road and beat the Orioles and go on the road and win every freaking game in Houston.
did the Rangers sell the last game of the season for that to happen?
I don't think so.
No,
Ooh,
but-
I know.
Now,
It's
look. I'm going to let Marcos get the final say here in the segment. Marcos, go ahead.
I mean, this is just one of the craziest postseason runs of all time. This team, I was telling Adin a while ago, I think this team just has the championship DNA, and he obviously pushed back. He was like, there's not that many guys on the team that have been there, that have done that. But what I'm talking about is every interview I've ever seen throughout the postseason, anything, it's a we. There's never been an I said oh yeah, I had a pretty good blah 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 blah. No, it's we came out with the game plan. We did this, we did that. That is just every manager, in every sport will tell you that's the way that it needs to be. They were calm, cool, collected through the wins, through the losses. We never got too high, we never got too low. That's huge credit to Bruce Bochy, obviously. But I mean, whenever in the first 2 rounds, in the wild card round and the divisional round, both of those teams had a combined 200 wins in the regular season. I mean, and then you face the division-winning Astros in the ALCS. This is truthfully one of the best postseason runs of all time. 11-0 on the road, like you said. We had to go through a gauntlet to get there, and we dominated early. We fought tough battles when we needed to in the ALCS, and this team stayed even kill, and it was something to watch, man.
There we go.
Yeah.
That's going to wrap. We got to get to the next segment, but Marcos, congratulations. You are now a World Series champion fan. Welcome to the club, man. I'm happy for you.
Man.
Happy for a lot of my Ranger friends out there. It stings that the Astros lost, but it's not about the Astros right now. It's about the Texas Rangers.
Real quick, I'm gonna go back in our Sports Rush audio. I'm gonna erase all the Rangers jokes I had during the season. I remember telling you, Marcos, Rangers fans don't know what it's like to be next to a trophy. Remember when I had the trophy?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, well, all that is a moot point now as the Rangers are the 2023 World Series champions. All right, when we come back, he is him? Is he? He's out of this world. The Spurs had themselves a hell of a week in Phoenix. We talk about that next. Sunday Sports Rush episode 139. James, Adin, and Marcos with you. Hitting up the text line 361-882-5397. It is Cowboys and Eagles game day. I got Andres in here. He's giving me some keys to the Cowboys and Eagles game. You can hit us up on the text line. Let us know your thoughts on the game. Who wins? Give us some keys to victory for the Cowboys. 361-882-5397. Andres says, you got to slow down Hurts. Easier said than done. I think our defensive backs can contain, not shut down their wide receivers. But the defense as a whole needs to not let Hurts win the game with his legs. On offense, the Cowboys need to find a run game to complement the pass. If they shut down Pollard, that pass rush is going to come hard on Dak. Pause. We need both facets to work to keep their defense honest. Can't have turnovers and got to win the time of possession battle. All very well said by Andres, and I can hear your ESPN notifications over there on the other side.
Oh, my bad. Sorry.
It's all good,
I
baby.
have Mahomes and Kelsey on my fantasy team.
Which we will get to them in the next segment. But Andres, good stuff right there, man. Get your takes, and I agree with all that. Got to shut down Hurts. It's going to be hard. Got to shut down those receivers. It's going to be difficult. We will talk Cowboys and Eagles at 10:20. 361-882-5397. Hit us up on the text line with your takes. Got a couple of more. We got Alex in here. Not Weister.
Not Gen Z.
This is Alex V. Alex V says 103-7 Cowboys win. Okay. 103-7. That's his take on Cowboys versus Eagles. Brian says 30-27 Dallas. All right. Keep them coming. I need your takes in right now. 361-882-5397. Let's go ahead and talk some Spurs. Some NBA. Yes. Love it. The Spurs took 2 games in Phoenix this past week on Tuesday night and Thursday night. Now, the Tuesday night game was pretty epic as well. I know that Booker didn't play, Bradley Beal didn't play, but Durant still played that game. And the Spurs came back from 20 points down to win in Phoenix.
Stole. That was the definition of a stole
Literally
game.
stole it. As Wemby had a putback dunk, boom, and then on the inbound play, it's inbounded to Durant in that game, and then Keldon Johnson steals the ball, goes up for a contested layup, and puts the Spurs up with about 1 second left. The Spurs did steal that game. Hell of a win.
Yeah.
Now, fast forward to Thursday night when Devin Booker returned to the lineup. And now everybody was saying, oh, well, Phoenix will surely dispatch of the Spurs with Devin Booker. The Spurs were dominating that entire game.
For the first 3 quarters.
Yeah, let's just be real. They dominated roughly the entire game. Phoenix did come back, though.
Devin Booker did Devin Booker stuff.
Yes.
And shot them back in the game. The game was tied with the Kevin Durant 3, I believe.
It was. And then with 1:41 remaining in the game's tied at 116-116. That's when number 1 overall pick Victor Wembanyama took over and made sure that the Spurs left with the victory. San Antonio responded with a 12-0 run, with Wembanyama scoring 10 of those points, and the Spurs end up winning 132-121. The thing I love about Wemby, and it's only 5 games in, he wants the ball in crunch time. He calls for the ball. He says, give me the damn ball.
We saw against the Rockets.
He wanted it. Mm-hmm. He wants the ball in his hands in crunch time, and we saw it on Thursday night, Marcos.
Yeah, I mean, that really impressed me. Like, I think his professionalism since he's been here has just been insane. I mean, he handles himself calm, cool, collected, but he's also got a dog in him, which I love. And he, as you said, I mean, he was calling for the ball. He was making plays. I mean, he was doing his thing. He was doing what he needed to do to make sure the Spurs walked away with the win. And seeing that from a rookie, seeing that from a 19-year-old kid, I mean, the dude's 2 months older than me.
That's crazy.
And he's out there balling out in the NBA, winning games against Kevin Durant, Devin Booker. I mean, he's playing some great basketball. I mean, the Suns are projected to come out of the West. I think some
they're
people
one of the top teams for sure. Top 3 team in the West.
So I want to see the
Some people
Suns.
think they will.
The Suns have little side, and I'm actually glad that Wemby took it upon himself to see the mismatch that the Suns have no size. I mean, Nurkic is not a defensive center at all.
They couldn't stop Wemby, dude.
Yeah.
Eubanks, Nurkic, none of those dudes.
Oh, seeing Eubanks on the other team, I'm like, man, that used to be our starting power forward center.
Oh my God! And it's so great now that the Spurs have just an absolute imposing figure in the post.
I mean, Collins and Wemby
That's a good duo.
As two defenders are 10 times better than Jakob Poeltl
And shout out to Zach
Eubank.
Collins. Zach Collins is playing some great basketball, man. Look, Wemby dropped 38 points, 10 rebounds in that win on Thursday night, and everybody opened their eyes as to what Wemby could truly be. I want to play this Kevin Durant audio because Kevin Durant spoke on Wemby after the game, and Kevin Durant had some really great things to say about Wembanyama. Here's Kevin Durant talking on the Bleacher Report about Wemby.
When he raised up and shot the ball, I was like, "There's no way I'm gonna be close to this. So I'm just gonna play hard and contest, man. Because either you gonna foul him or he's just gonna make the shot. He not going. He misses all on him. Yeah, so he different, man. He different. He long, athletic. He mobile. He can shoot it. He got skills. Man, he tough.
Man, that dude, Shaq had the nerve to say Wemby's just basically Bol 2.0. Come
Shaq
on,
was being
dude.
an idiot, bro.
That was bad.
Come on, dude.
You know,
I expect better out of Shaq, too.
I think that those guys on the TNT, whatever, what is it called?
Yeah, the Inside the NBA.
Inside the NBA. I love their show, but
Great show.
I think they usually have some pretty good takes,
They
especially with
usually do,
Charles
when
and
they're
Kenny, and even Ernie has some pretty good takes every once in a while. But that was pretty bad.
Come on,
it's
man.
very obvious that he's not Bol. Bol might have shown a flash of handling the ball, but the dude also gets like 5 minutes.
You know what
a
was
game.
funny about
Like,
that too, and so ironic about that is that Bol was on the bench watching Wemby go off.
Oh, he's on the Suns, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't even play. They could have put Bol to match up with Wemby, but guess what? Frank Vogel knows better. Shaq, you should know better, you big doof. I expect better out of Shaq.
I
Come
would love
on.
to see a Wemby versus Bol matchup though.
But
I mean, we could have seen it, but yeah.
Yeah.
Wembanyama continues to take the NBA by storm, and the Spurs are 3-2. They play the Raptors today in San Antonio at 2:30. Looking forward to that. Mini Wemby and Spurs updates to come right here on the Sunday Sports Rush. All right, get your text in, 361-882-5397. We're here. Who wins, Cowboys or Eagles? We want your takes on the text line. Coming up next, we got NFL headlines. It is the Sunday Sports Rush on News Talk KEYS. Good morning, Corpus Christi, Coastal Bend, listeners worldwide. Hour number 2 of the Sunday Sports Rush is upon you on News Talk KEYS, 1440 AM and 98.7 FM. It's episode 139. I am James Espinosa, joined by producer, best friend, Aiden Ducker.
Cougars, I love Cougars.
We got Marcos Matakin in the building. What's up, Marcos?
What's up, James?
We are here. We're chilling. Hour number 2. Tons of NFL talk coming up at 10:50, I should say. We have some Texas high school football discussion. Big game on Friday night between Flower Bluff and Gregory Portland. We'll react, give our firsthand accounts as Marcos and I were there. Aiden was running the board for us here. So we'll talk about that, talk about some Texas high school playoffs.
Do we have any Trump sounders? Like his huge.
Yeah, we do. They should be in there as Aiden is now.
That would have been a great moment.
It's looking like Aiden is scrolling to find those. Believe me, there's a bank. We are News Talk KEYS after
we
all.
are,
There's
we
a
are.
bank of Trump sounders in there somewhere.
That's not it, bud.
Don't be rude.
I'm telling you, there's a Trump sounder for everything.
Marcos, don't tempt me right now.
I'd like to punch him in the face.
At 10:30 a.m., we have
Nobody's stronger than me.
Okay, I'll stop.
we'll have Alex Weister on at 10:30, make some NFL picks. At 10:20, we will preview Cowboys and Eagles, doing all that good stuff. Right now, though, I have a quick Wembanyama stat that I didn't get to in the last segment. We were talking Spurs and Wembanyama and about his dominance in the fourth quarter in particularly. Well, here's the stat through 5 games of Victor Wembanyama in the fourth quarter. Wemby is 15 of 19 shooting in the fourth quarter this season. His 78.9% is the best in the league among the 117 NBA players who have attempted at least 10 field goals in the fourth quarter. Wembanyama is becoming a killer right before our very eyes. I love to see it. That is awesome. And that is just the one stat I wanted to get to. Also, Devin Vassell, groin injury. That is a little bit concerning.
Yeah.
The Spurs are going to sit him out for a couple of games. Hopefully it's nothing too serious. But Devin Vassell has started to emerge for the Spurs a little bit. And I really like what I'm seeing out of year 4, Devin Vassell early on. He's starting to become a scorer and someone who could take over in spurts, which the Spurs need. He could be the Robin to Wemby's Batman. I love that. So hopefully Vassell's not this. Hopefully this ain't a long-term thing and not a nagging groin injury, because those can be, season-long type of stuff.
And I've said Vassell, I predicted him to score 21 to 22 a game. Man, Wemby and Vassell as a 1-2 combo
it's not bad.
They're a bunch of
Bad hombres.
They are. They definitely are.
Yeah.
So if you got any takes, get them in on the text line 361-882-5397. Cowboys Eagles takes. Who wins? Hit us up now. I need y'all in here. Let's talk some NFL. Let's go over some headlines that are happening as we speak. It's halftime in Germany. Chiefs 21, Dolphins nothing. The Chiefs are blanking the Dolphins in Germany. It's a blitzkrieg.
Yeah, I was just
against
about to say
the Dolphins defense. And apparently Rashee Rice has scored a touchdown. He's from SMU actually, Rashee Rice. And yeah, things are going well. I'm trying to pull up the score. I don't know why it's not giving me the box score.
It's 21-0 Chiefs.
I'm trying to get the stats though on this. Okay, here we go. The game cast. That's where I need to go to. So it started off with a Rice touchdown pass from Mahomes, 7-0 in the first. In the second quarter, Mahomes found Jerick McKinnon, made it 14-0. And then in the last 30 seconds of the half, a Brian Cook 59-yard fumble recovery.
Yeah, against Tyreek Hill.
For the Chiefs. And apparently Tyreek Hill got blown up in that play. 21-0. Chiefs are up. Mahomes 14 of 19 passing, 147 yards, 2 touchdowns. And Pacheco, 10 carries for 41 yards. Tua, 89 yards passing. Right. Jalen Waddle got hurt, apparently. He's not going to play the rest of the game. That sucks for my fantasy team.
Mine as well.
And Tyreek Hill, 5 receptions for 39 yards. So that's how that game's looking right now out in Germany.
Yeah, the Dolphins, I've said this last couple of weeks, but now it's official to me that they're front-running frauds. They haven't beaten a team with a winning record since week 3 of last season. They like to stomp on the teams that are mid to bad, but when they actually play a competent football team, they kind of suck. So
and I don't think that's an unfair take.
No, I think that narrative might have been a tad unfair, just because it was really just the Bills, right? And then now it's becoming a pattern though, and it's not looking too hot.
No, it's not. So when we look at the grand scheme of things of the AFC, I'm pulling up the standings here. Let's do a standings check, as we are pretty much at the midway point of the season.
We're week 9 now,
We're
right?
in week 9. This is the midway point. You got the Baltimore Ravens at 6-2, Steelers at 5-3 in the North. You got in the South the Jags at 6-2. Marcos' Texans sit at 3-4. The West is comprised of the Chiefs at 6-2. They got a 2-game lead. And the Dolphins and Bills. Dolphins right now are 6-2, about to be 6-3 if they don't change things up. Bills are 5-3. Tonight, Bills and Bengals. We're gonna make a pick for that game. But who do you see in the hierarchy of the AFC? Is this the Chiefs AFC as it always has been?
I mean, yeah.
Or are the Ravens? Can the Ravens contend with the Chiefs? Right now, the Ravens are 6-2, Jags 6-2. Who out of the rest of the teams besides the Chiefs do you see being a legitimate contender for the AFC title? I'll start with Marcos.
I mean, the Jags don't impress me. Maybe it's just because I'm a Texans fan, but I don't think that they've looked anything special. They've won 5 in a row, but I don't think that they've been a special team this year. I think the Ravens have also shown that they've had a lot of holes. I think you could speak more to that, Adin.
It's just, to me, it's an injury issue, and the offense every so now often getting very lackadaisical. Like, they sold against the Steelers. That still worries me about them a little bit. And then they always get the bad injury bug. So
I think if the Jets can stay alive until Aaron Rodgers comes back, I think that could be a shout to make a decent playoff run.
Speaking of the Jets, a real quick headline that's tied to the Jets this week is apparently before the NFL trade deadline, the Jets did try to acquire wide receiver on the Raiders, Davante Adams. That was a deal that fell through at the last moment, but the Jets were trying to get him.
Set that man free, please.
So Jets are 4-3 also. That's a pretty interesting right there.
And as far as what I think, too, I did have the Jags in the Super Bowl, so I do think the Jags have the best shot at the Chiefs. But the Chiefs, they've been the AFC representative 3 of the last 4 years in the Super Bowl. And I know the offense hasn't looked quite as sharp this season, but the Chiefs have the number 2 scoring defense. So you actually have Mahomes with the actual legit defense, and that's kind of worrisome for other AFC teams. And look what the Chiefs are doing right now to the Dolphins.
That is scary. Yeah, and they did score a defensive touchdown just before the half.
This Chiefs defense has been pretty good.
Spagnuolo.
And the Bengals, man, I think Burrow, I didn't think it would happen this soon, but Burrow's found his mojo back.
I'm going to say this. I love what the Bengals are looking like recently. I really am starting to be super, super high on the Bengals. I think the Bengals, when it's all said and done, are going to emerge as probably the second to the Chiefs. I just feel it. I feel the Bengals are going to make a run here.
They have to take over the Steelers. The Steelers have been outgained every single game yardage-wise, but they're 5-3. That is not sustainable.
They have a negative 30-point differential, and they're 5-3.
That's the Steelers?
That's not sustainable.
That's gross.
That's not sustainable throughout the season.
That's actually what I was actually going to mention that because I saw the Thursday night game. We obviously couldn't watch it because we were doing the MICs.
Steelers and Titans.
Yeah, the MIC game of the week. But it's just insane how Mike Tomlin can keep pulling out these victories out of nowhere with such a horrendous offense. And I think that he has to have made a change at offensive coordinator, get rid of Matt Canada. But he's a loyal guy. You know, Mike Tomlin's pretty well known to take care of his coaches and to take care of his guys and his staff. But, I mean, there has to be some changes in the offense.
Couple of more headlines to get to. The Raiders did fire Josh McDaniels. They did fire their GM, Ziegler. And they fired their offensive coordinator as well. They did, though, promote Antonio Pierce to interim head coach.
I saw what you did, the Lalo Warner Ziegler.
Yeah. So the Raiders cleared house. The Raiders also announced that they're going to start for the foreseeable future quarterback Aiden O'Connell.
Hey, my boy.
He's taking over for Jimmy G.
Yeah, Jimmy G's handsomeness didn't translate to wins for the Raiders, unfortunately,
So we'll see what happens. Antonio Pierce used to be a pain in the butt to the Cowboys. He was just one of those linebackers that was always in the mess for the Giants.
In that upset against the Cowboys in the division round, he was one of the best players that day for the Giants.
Exactly. He's just a pesky player, man, and he's a hard-nosed dude. We'll see what happens with that.
You heard of that? He's been touched by his players, and he's touched them back.
That's what he said.
Yeah. It's kind of like a School of Rock scene, remember?
Very, very touchy-feely.
Yeah.
More headlines to get to. Kirk Cousins is out for the season with an Achilles injury. That sucks.
I was actually starting
for Kirk.
I was starting to warm up a little bit on Kirk Cousins, ever so slightly, in the impressive win against the Niners, and then that had to happen.
With that happening,
some quarterbacks are just cursed.
That prompted the Vikings to make a trade with Arizona for quarterback Josh Dobbs. Josh Dobbs is not going to start today. They got another kid who's starting for the Vikings today, but Dobbs will be the quarterback pretty much for the rest of the year.
Jaron Hall.
There we go. Jaron Hall. I believe he's from BYU, if I'm not mistaken.
That sounds right.
I think so. Well, anyways, Dobbs will be the quarterback pretty much after this week. The 49ers traded for defensive end Chase Young this past week. The rich get richer. I know Chase Young has been hurt. I know Chase Young didn't necessarily live up to expectations, but add him to that defensive line, and he's going to be opposite Bosa. And then the guys they got in the middle, and then they also got Randy Gregory as a serviceable rotational DN. Dude, championship teams make moves at the deadline, and that brings me to the Cowboys, who didn't make a move.
Yeah.
Jerry Jones likes his guys, obviously, but you see
we like our guys.
You see the 49ers making moves. You see the Eagles adding guys like a Julio Jones, etc. Teams who are going for it make moves, and the 49ers did that. The 49ers did that. We'll see if Chase Young works out or not.
I will say, though, I am selling my stock a little bit on the Niners because
they've lost 3 in a row.
Brock Purdy, Brock Purdy hasn't. It's kind of like the Dak thing where it's like if you need the game to rest on his shoulders, he doesn't really come through as much. And you're starting to see that. And then the Niners defense the past few weeks, ever since that Cowboys game, they've looked pretty mid.
Check this out. This is the 49ers' upcoming 4 games. All right? So they have a bye this week. But next week, they're on the road at Jacksonville. The following week, they play the Bucks. And then They go on the road at Seattle, and then on the road at Philadelphia. 3 of these next 4 games are losable for the 49ers.
The Niners should make the playoffs, but Steve Wilkes doesn't really have that defense as tight knit as
these next 4 games for the
D'Amico
49ers.
Ryans.
These next 4 games for the 49ers. Jags, Bucks, Seahawks, Eagles. That's going to be pivotal.
The Bucks have been playing
Pivotal stretch right there.
decent
Bucks have
football.
been.
They've been playing decent football.
They've looked mid.
Aren't they leading? No, they're not leading. The Falcons are leading the division.
I think they had a pretty good defense.
Yeah.
They have a good defense, but the
Bucks play the Texans today, matter of fact.
Yep.
Oh, that's a pickable game.
That is a pick'em game that we'll get to at 10:30. So that wraps up our NFL headlines. Let's go ahead and end the segment right here because I want to get to Cowboys and Eagles. We scout the Eagles next. We give our Cowboys and Eagles takes, our predictions. We let you know what we think's going to happen. And I want you to get into the text line. Hit us up, 361-882-5397. Who wins between the Cowboys and the Eagles? We talk Dallas versus Philadelphia next. Keep it locked. Sunday Sports Rush, News Talk KEYS. It's time. It is time to go ahead and scout those Eagles from Philadelphia. It's Cowboys versus Eagles. It's the big game. NFC East lead on the line and potentially some big seeding implications to come in the NFC. I got you guys in on the text line. Going to get to a couple real quick because I need to shout you guys out a little bit more. Keith is making his prediction. Keith says Philly isn't unbeatable. Get the lead, keep the momentum strong, don't let go of it, and don't burn your defense before the 4th. You'll need them. Wow, I like that from Keith. I like that. Andrew says 13-12 Philly. Boo. He's picking Philly 13-12. That's kind of low. All right, let's jump into it. Thank you guys for getting in. 361-882-5397. Get your takes in on the text line, 361-882-5397. After a lopsided loss to the 49ers in Week 5, the Cowboys have won back-to-back games. The Eagles have also won 2 in a row after losing their only game of the season in Week 6 at the New York Jets. By the numbers, the Cowboys lead the NFL with 4 defensive touchdowns, the most defensive touchdowns through the first 7 games of a season in franchise history. CeeDee Lamb's been hot lately. Him and Dak have connected. When targeting CeeDee Lamb, Prescott has a 131.6 passer rating, the 3rd highest passer rating drawn by a receiver in the NFL this season, guys. This is 2 top 3 scoring offenses. Cowboys number 2 in scoring, Eagles number 3. The Eagles have the 7th best rushing offense and 7th best passing offense. The Eagles are 7th in total defense. Meanwhile, though, the weakness for the Eagles is their passing offense. 26th for defense against the pass. So, Eagles passing defense, I should say, is pretty susceptible.
The secondary's definitely been banged up,
yes. Cowboys are 16th in passing offense. What to watch for? Dak Prescott versus Jalen Hurts. You know, guys, that since Jalen Hurts has been quarterback of the Eagles, him and Dak Prescott have only faced each other one time. And that was back in early 2021 when the Cowboys had an easy victory over them. Since then, one or the other's been hurt. Last year, we saw Jalen Hurts versus Cooper Rush. And then we saw Dak Prescott versus Gardner Minshew.
Oh, that's right. Jalen Hurts, that was the game he missed.
Yeah, so we have not seen them go head-to-head since 2021. This is going to be interesting. Dallas is 9-5 against the Eagles since 2016. And Dak Prescott, when he starts against the Eagles, is 6-2. Jalen Hurts 1-2 against Dallas all time. When you look at these two passers, Jalen Hurts struggles when he is pressured. And you might say, well, that's kind of obvious, right? Any quarterback struggles when they're pressured. Well, Dak Prescott's actually the opposite. Dak Prescott, when he has pressure, completes 71% of his passes. You do not want to blitz Dak Prescott. Instead, what the Eagles should do is play zone coverage against Dak. You play zone against Dak, that's when Dak struggles the most. You play man against Dak, you bring the blitz against Dak, Dak is able to get out of the pocket, use his feet a little bit, and he'll burn you. And he's been that quarterback all his life.
But that's what the Cardinals did against the Cowboys earlier in the year. Former Eagles defensive coordinator Jonathan Gannon, they played zone, and that was one of the coverages that was used when he had that linebacker pick him off. I expect the Eagles are going to implement. I agree with you. They're going to do the exact same thing.
So if the Cowboys want to get pressure on Jalen Hurts, he completes 53% when there's pressure in his face. Without any pressure, it's 76%.
Well, real quick before we get to Marcos,
Go ahead.
that's if you get pressure. The Eagles have the best offensive line in the league.
And the Cowboys, the past couple of weeks have been utilizing a lot more blitzes against the Chargers and against the Rams. Dan Quinn has upped his blitz rate to manufacture 5 guys rushing, and they'll disguise it too. They've been starting to put Micah Parsons at middle linebacker, and they're starting to disguise when he's blitzing, when he's not, which I like Micah Parsons in that role, more of a jack of all trades. So, Marcos, give me some thoughts on Cowboys.
While
Eagles.
I give my take, I have Tyron Smith as questionable. Can you check on an update for that?
I believe you're correct on that. The last I saw was he was questionable. He had not practiced a little bit during the week.
While you look that up, I mean, I think my keys to this game are just, can the Cowboys make third down stops? I mean, you have to limit A.J. Brown. Obviously, he's been their weapon 6 straight weeks of 125-plus yards, and I think he has a touchdown in every single one of those games as well. He's been outstanding. He's really been a crutch for that Eagles passing offense. Even though they have Devontae Smith, I mean, he's been the guy that they've leaned on. And then obviously their running game is very stout, even though they don't have maybe a A-plus name guy. I mean, DeAndre Swift's been pretty good, but he's not a household name by any means. And then it's the little, I mean, we have to acknowledge it's the brotherly shove, it's the tush push. I mean, if they get within a yard, they're going to get that first down.
The Cowboys' rush defense is not that great either.
No.
Cowboys' rush defense ranks 18th in the NFL, so they're about mid to average.
I think I'm going to expect the Cowboys to get a good dose of run from the Eagles. The elite offensive line. I think the Eagles have the best offensive line in the past 5 seasons.
In order to stop a really good pass rush, which Dallas has had the majority of the season, you run the ball at them.
You have to.
And you take away the opportunity for Dallas to pin their ears back. That should be the Eagles' #1 game plan to slow down this Dallas defense. You run the ball at these pass rushers, and you force them to become run stoppers, which has been an Achilles heel for Dallas for quite a while, and especially under the Dan Quinn era. That's just something the Cowboys have been notoriously weak at. Now, from a Cowboys standpoint, I want to see this offense continue to evolve. The last 2 weeks, the Cowboys have been using much higher shotgun situations. They've been rolling Dak out of the pocket more. They've been having low yak, but a high ADOT, which is average depth of target. So they're taking shots more down the field. Cooks has come alive in the last 2 weeks. CeeDee Lamb has come alive in the last 2 weeks. You got to feed the studs. Feed CeeDee Lamb. Feed Brandon Cooks. Easier said than done, but that will be the success for Dallas.
Another thing, too, I know the Eagles secondary has been a weak point throughout the season, but they traded for Kevin Byard. So now he's going to be in the back end.
Yes, he is.
So is it going to cause problems for CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Cooks, and all them other guys?
I mean, but also, I mean, you got to acknowledge this new defense. That's going to be tough for adjustment, I'm sure, for him. I don't exactly know the ins and outs of the language in the defense and his previous D coordinator and his new D coordinator. I mean, nobody besides the guys in the building will know that. But it's still going to be a tough adjustment for him.
I mean, Kevin Byard's a perennial All-Pro. So, I understand where you're coming from, Marcos, but I think Byard's a good enough player to where he'll pick it up.
Let's make our picks. Marcos, who wins? Cowboys and Eagles.
I mean, if I'm being honest, it feels like one of those games where the Cowboys just kind of like shock everybody and winning, even though it's not really, it's kind of an up and up. I think it's like a 50-50 right now on ESPN. But it feels like a Cowboys shocker, but I think the Eagles are the better team. So give me Eagles. I think they're going to run the ball a lot, drain a lot of clock. I think it's going to be Eagles like 21, Cowboys 20.
Oh, close game. Aiden, go for it.
I see the Eagles getting like at least 10 more minutes of ball time. Of possession, at least. They're going to run it down their throat.
Whoa.
Pause.
Okay. Oh, I got to play the audio. The Cowboys played way too well against the Rams, and we know the Cowboys, when they play really well, they scale it back in terms of how they play. Give me the Eagles 27, Cowboys 20.
I'm going to go ahead and save my prediction for after the break. That is what we call a tease.
A tease. Ooh,
in the
James's
radio
prediction.
business.
Oh, I'm so
if you want to
excited.
hear my prediction, you will stick around and listen to the next segment because I do have one more Eagles nugget I want to get to. I'll give my prediction, and then we'll have Alex Weister join the line, and we'll make some NFL picks for week number 9. It's Cowboys-Eagles game day. Get your takes on the text line, 361-882-5397. Let us know, who do you think wins? Let's do it, baby. The show rolls on. Sunday Sports Rush. It's Cowboys-Eagles game day. It's the Sports Rush. It's episode 139, and I am pumped about this one. I got Mario in on the text line real quickly. Mario says his takeaway is this. You got to take away Hurts' first read. Teams that have been able to do that have been successful in forcing him to throw interceptions. That actually, Mario, thank you for getting in, 361-882-5397. That ties into the point that I'm about to make, and then we're going to get Alex Weister on. I didn't get to make this point in the last segment when we did Cowboys-Eagles, but this year, the Eagles are a little bit more turnover prone. Last year, the Eagles only gave away the ball 19 times over the entirety of the year. So far this year, they have 13 giveaways. Philadelphia went from being a top 3 team in turnover differential last year to now 23rd. Jalen Hurts has 11 turnover-worthy plays this season. He has been turning the ball over more this year, so that could play a big hand to Dallas, and I agree with Mario's take. Yeah. You force Hurts to become a pure passer, and you might see some of those turnover-worthy plays. 361-882-5397. The stats say it. Look, this is the thing. You say maybe, but I'm literally reading you like concrete stats.
Yeah, but
that
I mean,
but that literally prove that he is more turnover prone this year.
He is more turnover prone, but I still think Jalen Hurts. That's another Cowboys fan trying to make Jalen Hurts not.
How am I doing that when?
No. I'm talking. Not talking about you. I'm talking about who just texted in right now.
Yeah, but the stats back up what he said. Like, look, this is the thing. Like, I'm not making up these numbers. This is literally what he's done. He's more turnover prone this year. Like, this is a concrete evidence. This ain't Cowboy fan just trying to, kiss Cowboy ass. This is Jalen Hurts being more turnover prone against the Cowboys defense, who, guess what, is top 2 in takeaways, which I think could be a big key to the game.
If they win, that's probably going to be.
I don't mean to jump on you, but but there's always these people who are saying, "Oh, that's just Cowboys fans trying to make up stuff about Hurts." No, it's not. That is what he is this year. 361-882-5397. We do have the man from Dave Campbell's, the man from UNC, the man from Texan Live, the man who just called Duncanville and DeSoto, the man who is getting all the big calls on Texan Live. It is Alex Weister. What's up?
What's up? And I do have to correct you. I was not on call for Duncanville DeSoto, sadly, but I was running camera.
Well, you were there. You were in the house. You were there. Did you just hear me and Aiden go at it?
Yeah.
I did. I was listening. It was it was very intense, and it made me not feel too great about having that Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown stack in my fantasy lineup today.
Okay.
But, James, I know you wanted to touch on it.
Go ahead.
I am going to push you a little bit. There is one thing that you did miss.
Go for it.
In my introduction.
Oh my God. Yes. Yes. Go for it, Alex. You should be the one. Go for it.
Okay. Yeah. So in James's introduction, I hate to gloat here a little bit, but yes, I am the 2023 recipient of the Lone Star Student Sports Emmy.
Yes. Attaboy. Attaboy. Let's go. Dude, big time congratulations. Hard work. I talk to you, man. We talk frequently. Hard work pays off.
Yes.
You've been putting in the grind up there. You're making a name for yourself. So proud of you. Everyone down here is so proud of you, dude. Just keep on keeping on, all right? We love the fact that you are being successful, bro. You ready to pick some games?
Of course, as always.
I'm going to give you Cowboys and Eagles first. Go for it. Who wins tonight?
So I think this is going to be a very highly contested game. You did bring up some good points. I'm a bit shaky on the Eagles' offense. They have seemed not great at points but I think this is going to be a game that really comes down to home field advantage. And with the Eagles at home, I'll give them a slight edge, 31-28.
The
over the
Eagles,
Cowboys.
okay, fair enough. The Eagles are a 3-point dog, or a 3-point favorite. So you're going 31-28. You have the Eagles covering. Aiden picked the Eagles. Marcus picked the Eagles. Alex is picking the Eagles.
Who picked the Eagles?
Marcos is picking the Eagles. My apologies. I'm doing this because, damn it, it's time. Cowboys are my upset pick today. Give me Cowboys 27. Give me Eagles 24. The Cowboys go into Philadelphia, and they take the lead in the NFC East. And I think the Cowboys force not 1, not 2, but 3 turnovers against this Eagles offense. It's going to be a showcase for the defense today.
3?
3.
That's a bold statement.
It is bold, but I'm going bold, and I'm picking the Cowboys as my upset special.
The Cowboys are going to get you upset. I think that's what you meant. But
There we
anyway.
go. And Aiden, I love you, dude. I wasn't trying to go at you.
Nah, I mean, Jalen Hurts still a better quarterback than Dak Prescott, but we'll leave that aside.
Which is a fair take. I'm not going to disagree with that. Let's move on. Bucks at Texans. The Bucks are 3-4. They're in Houston. The Texans are 3-4. The Texans are actually favored against the Buccaneers at home by 3 points. We do have Marcos Matakin in the building. Marcos, who wins, Bucks or Texans?
I don't know, man. I have no idea. I have no idea.
Oh, by the way, Marcos is in the lead of the pick'em. He has 54 wins. Aiden has 47. Alex has 45. I have 44. Marcos has a 7-game lead in pick'em. That is ridiculous.
This blasphemy has to end.
I also send them in like the night before injuries come out and all that. So
You do. Who do you got? Texans or Bucks?
Texans.
All right. Let's go with Alex Weister. Alex, Texans or Bucks? What do you got?
I mean, the game last week versus the Panthers leaves a lot to be desired for the Texans. I'm going to roll with the Bucks in this one.
Okay. Aiden, what's up?
That's right. They did lose to the Panthers. Did they lose to them at home or on the road?
On the road in Carolina.
Trust me, Aiden.
The Texans are a much better home team. Give me the Texans.
Yes.
Give me the Texans at home against the Bucks.
I'm going Texans. I think it's a bounce-back game for C.J. Stroud and DeMeco Ryans and all them. I love the Texans. They're fun to watch. Moving on. Vikings at Falcons. This one's going to be interesting. Vikings are 4-4 at the 4-4 Falcons. Falcons are 3.5-point favorites at home. Falcons are going to be starting Taylor Heineke, and the Vikings will be starting Jaron Hall in place of the injured Kirk Cousins. This is a battle of backups, 4-4 teams, probably a mid-off of the week. Let's go with Alex Weister. Who do you got?
I think just based on the caliber of quarterbacks that are starting in this game, I definitely like Taylor Heineke a lot more than I like the prospect of Jaron Hall. So I'm going to go with the Falcons in this one.
Aiden.
Give me the Falcons. I think Heineken's going to ignite that offense, and he'll actually look at Kyle Pitts as opposed to other quarterbacks they've had in the past besides Matt Ryan. So give me the Falcons at home.
Marcos.
Yeah, I think I don't think it really matters because the Falcons are going to run the ball 75 times a game. And Heineke, but I think Heineke will hit some play action, take advantage of those opportunities, much more so than Jaron Hall. So give me the Falcons.
I think Heineke is going to open up some Heinekens and have himself a party on that Vikings defense. Give me Falcons, baby.
Is that a sweep?
That is a clean sweep. Okay. Moving on. I was waiting for y'all guys. Never mind.
No, we know sold.
Yeah, y'all definitely sold on me right there.
Yeah.
We're moving on. This one's actually a pretty key game here. You got the 5-2 Seahawks at the 6-2 Ravens. The Ravens are damn near a touchdown favorite at 6.5 points at home. Seahawks 5-2, Ravens 6-2. Who wins? I'll start with Aiden. Do your Ravens get the home victory over a 5-2 Seahawks team?
The Ravens have been surprisingly dominant at home. I mean, they've had one of the better home records the past few years, but this year has been they've been absolutely on fire. They blew out the Lions at home a couple weeks ago. I think this could be a good game, but I won't say I don't agree with the spread. I think it's gonna be a close game, but give me the Ravens in this one.
All righty, let's go with Alex Weister. Seahawks at Ravens. This is a crucial matchup we saw a couple of weeks back. The Lions rolled into Baltimore, and the Ravens just pecked their eyes out. Who do you got?
Yes. I believe that this is actually a lot better of a game than I think Aiden is giving it credit for. I don't think there's anything surprising about the Ravens' success. because the one major question mark we had going into this year, of course, was their health. We've seen them year in and year out get riddled with injuries nonstop. And with them being healthy, I love this Ravens team. Of course, coming from Maryland, I've been around fans all my life. I love the Ravens in this game. I think they're going to roll.
Nice. Would you say you're kind of a quasi-Ravens fan? Just, maybe a tad bit?
They're definitely my AFC team for sure.
There we go. Marcos Matakin is up. It's Seahawks at Ravens. Will you dare pick the Seahawks in the Battle of the Birds?
I think it's going to come to whether or not the Ravens can stop Kenneth Walker. He's been on a roll lately.
What about Big Game Geno?
Geno hasn't been the same this year. And I was a Geno toother last year, but give me the Ravens at home.
Oh my gosh.
Ravens also have the best defense in the league, I think, in points allowed.
You know what? This is actually surprising, but damn it, man. Back-to-back sweeps. I think I'm going to have to go with the Ravens at home. I really like the Ravens as probably like a third seed in the AFC this year. I really do see that happening for them in a possible Super Bowl contender.
In points allowed, it's actually Cowboys infused points, Ravens, Bucks, Texans.
Oh, okay. There we go. Nice stat drop by Marcos. I appreciate that.
Is that yardage or points?
Points.
Okay, sweet. Hold on, let me see. Moving on. He has to double check. Aiden has to double check. Commanders at Patriots. Yes, we are picking Commies at Patriots. 3-5 Commanders at the 2-6 Patriots. The Patriots are 3-point favorites at home. Commanders look pretty good against the Eagles last week. Anybody want to give a go at this one? Let's go at Weister. Who do you got?
So this is a game where I think many people are predicting Sam Howell to come back down to earth. His two best games came against the Eagles, and he's been good but not great like he's been against the Eagles in other games since then, especially with it being in Gillette Stadium. I think this is a game the Patriots are slated to win, in my opinion.
All righty, you got Patriots. I'm going to go ahead and go Commanders. I'm feeling the Commanders. I'm feeling Sam Howell. I liked what they showed last week against Philadelphia. They could put up some points. I know they're going on the road and all that good stuff, and typically the Patriots are pretty solid up at Foxborough, but give me the Commanders on the road. I think they're going to put up a lot of points. I don't think Mac Jones and company are going to be able to keep up. I got Commanders.
Actually, it's been a flip this year. The Patriots are 1-3 at home.
See, exactly. Commanders, there we go. I'm picking the Commies.
I will also take the Commanders.
Are you going to pick them as an upset?
Do you want me to?
It's up to you.
Marcos, on the season, you are 5-3 in upset picks. You actually are the lone man with the winning record in upset picks this year.
It does feel like a Commies win, but I have another game. Maybe I'll come back to it if that other game gets taken.
Aiden, who do you got? Commies or Pats?
The times I picked the Commies, they've actually been my favorite. I'll pick them in this game. I'm not going to put an upset on it.
Ooh, okay.
But every time I pick the Patriots this year, they failed me, so give me the Commies.
We have two more games to pick. Let's make them quick. It's Bills at Bengals on Sunday Night Football. DeMar Hamlin returns to where he passed away briefly or had his cardiac incident. I'm sorry, but he's returning back.
I'm sorry.
He's returning back to Cincinnati.
I know, but it costs a little. I think, he is on IR.
Yeah,
it costs off guard a bit.
But he's not going to be there?
He probably
He's probably going to be there, but
he's not going to be on the field, though.
Oh, man. Damn it, I didn't know that. I was thinking they're going to have a nice little tribute package.
I mean, I don't know. That's kind of weird.
Okay, so Bills at Bengals, 5-3 at the 4-3 Bengals. Bengals are 2.5-point favorites at home. Marcos wants this one. He's pointing to me. Marcos, are you going to do it?
Give me the Bills upset.
Oh, my God. Bills on the road. He's going with Josh Allen and company. Upset special. Alex Weister, who do you got?
I'm going to go with the Bills as well. This is a coin flip game. I think it's going to be a fantastic back-and-forth contest, but I like the Bills.
Aiden?
I got to catch up to Marcos. Give me the Bengals in this one. I feel like this is a coin flip, but I feel like since the Bengals are at home, give me the Bengals.
Last week, I nailed Bengals. Or a couple of weeks back, I nailed Bengals. No, wait, last week I did. I nailed Bengals over 49ers. All of y'all picked 49ers. The Bengals are hot. I'm loving Joey B. And as I say every week, give me Joey Beasy for some touchdown reesies to chase easy for the Victor Easy.
You gotta stop, man.
It's Bengals. They're winning. They're coming. Watch out.
You gotta chill.
Monday Night Football. Chargers at Jets. Let's go for it, Alex.
I'm going to go with the Chargers in this one. I think this has the potential to be a very ugly game, but I'm going to take the Chargers.
Chargers are a 3-point favorite on the road. Jets are at home. They're in the Meadowlands. The Jets are actually looking kind of not bad, but you're going Chargers, right, Alex?
Yes.
All righty. Marcos, who do you got?
I don't know, man. This game's kind of weird to me, but give me the Jets. I have no faith in this Chargers team.
Okay. Aiden.
Give me the Jets. That's my upset pick.
J-E-T-S.
I think
Jets.
I picked them earlier in the year as upset, and they proved me right. I think this is gonna be similar to the Buffalo game to start of the year.
Yeah.
I think the Chargers are gonna come out kind of flat. It's gonna be a struggle. I think the Jets win barely, but give me the Jets.
Give me the Jets to fly high over those Chargers. I'm going Jets as well. The only person who did not have an upset pick is Alex Weister. Alex, do you have
Indeed.
an upset in mind?
I do have my upset pick slated. Now, Danny Dimes is coming back.
Whoa! Okay.
Give me the Giants over the Raiders.
And the Raiders are a 1.5-point favorite.
Yeah.
I don't know how, but I'm going against history
The-
here.
the
Whenever
one-
teams fire their coaches, they usually play better. But I'm going to go against history here.
You're going with Danny Dimes. By the way, Alex has a 4-4 upset record this year, so 500. All right,
Yeah.
that's respectable.
I do think there's a solid chance Devontae Adams goes for like 250 though.
Aiden O'Connell starting quarterback. I like that pick. I think the Giants will be feisty enough, and Danny Dimes, baby. Let's see what happens. Hey, Alex, once again, dude, congratulations on the Texas
Thank you.
Collegiate Sports Emmy. Did I get that right?
Lone Star
Lone Star.
Sports Emmy.
Lone Star
It's an
Sports
Emmy.
Emmy.
Lone Star Student Sports Emmy.
Hey,
they're confusing with how they want to call it, but hey, I don't think they're going to hear
It
it.
says Emmy in the name, right?
You know what?
You're an Emmy winner.
I'm going to say this, damn it. You could put that on your resume. You are a Lone Star Emmy winner, and that's going to look freaking fantastic, bro. I'm proud of you.
Absolutely.
Thank you for being on with us as always, and we'll talk later
Yep.
on throughout the day. There goes Alex Weister, Lone Star Sports Emmy winner, kicking butt up in UNT. When we come back, we got some quick high school football thoughts. Sunday Sports Rush. Get your final Cowboys takes in. It's a Sunday Sports Rush. Cowboys and Eagles game day. 2:30 pregame and 3:30 kickoff right here on Keys. I got Paul in here, 361-882-5397. Paul says, I'm going to go off on what previous big-time games have told us in the last 5 to 7 years of Dak being the quarterback. He says, big games equals Dak 2+ turnovers, inconsistent with his play, team turns into a yellow flag team, big games equal choke city. Paul's taking Eagles 27, Cowboys 17. Wow. All right, Paul, tell us how you really feel about the Cowboys in big games. It's cool. That's all good. That's Paul's take.
This brother's spitting right now, dude. Okay, that was cringe. That was bad.
He was spitting. Thank you guys for getting in on the text line. I appreciate y'all. 361-882-5397. Let's talk some Texas high school football. This past week, we bared witness on the MIC Sports Network Friday night. It was a beatdown of epic proportions. It was the district championship game between Flower Bluff and GP. And the Bluff, man, they did it, dude. The Bluff beat GP by a final score of 56-21 to claim back-to-back District 15-5A Division II championships. The Hornets' Nest was rocking. Hornet Country, Hornet Stadium, very lovely atmosphere. One of my favorites. But GP just had no answers, guys. And it was Flower Bluff from the get-go.
Yeah, I was generally like stunned sitting back here. Like I mean, picking Flower Bluff to win, like okay, it's not surprising they're a good team, but I just didn't expect, what unfolded. It was a hornet's nest that was bestowed upon GP from the start of the game. Man.
It was like that scene in that one movie where Macaulay Culkin got stung by a bunch of bees.
Oh God, no, dude.
He doesn't have his glasses.
No, I was gonna think about like remember Nick Cage in The Wicker Man that scene. Not the bees.
Oh, yeah.
My eyes.
I mean, look. Shout out to our MRC Sports Network players of the game, Jaden Pelucio.
We literally couldn't decide.
We couldn't decide. It was tough, so I decided, we're gonna give it to both of them. Jaden Pelucio, 6 total touchdowns, 4 passing, 2 rushing. Cameron Dixon, defensive back, wide receiver. He had 2 receiving touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown, and 1 51-yard interception return for a touchdown. This is Doug Kesterson and myself, courtesy of the MIC Sports Network.
Double tight end on the right side of the formation. Snap to Dooms. Wants to throw. Pressure's coming. Fires it up. Intercepted by Dixon. Intended for Harrison. He's got the left sideline. Running down. One guy to pass up. Hits by Dooms all the way to the end zone. Touchdown. Dixon and the Hornets.
The Hornets have broke this one open, and they could sense the district championship is theirs. This crowd is hyped. Pick 6. Stunned crowd from Gregory Portland.
And as you heard me right there, that Gregory Portland crowd was just jaws agape. Couldn't believe what they were seeing. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. That touchdown made it 42-7. It was 49-14 at half for Flower Bluff. Dominating performance. So now that sets up Friday night, first round of the playoffs. PSJA Memorial at Flower Bluff Friday night, round 1. Bluff will probably win by 3 or 4 tutties. Roma at Gregory Portland Friday at 7 p.m. That is the first round matchup for the Wildcats. Roma.
I mean, Roma had a good team this year.
They did. So check this out. Roma was 9-0, undefeated in district. They lost their last game to Mission Veterans Memorial. And then by some weird tiebreaker, points differential, whatever it was, Roma ended up 3rd place. So GP's playing a one-loss Roma team.
Yeah, and Roma's for the past decade one of the better Valley teams. They're usually a consistent playoff team. So that's not. I mean, GP's had matchups with them way back, back when I was in high school. I remember they had a really close game they won. So I'm not gonna. This ain't no slouch Roma team.
Marcos, go ahead.
I mean, especially since coming off of that tough loss in the last game of the season, like you said, I can imagine those boys coming out with the vengeance. They were supposed to be undefeated, getting the 1 seed in the playoffs, all that. And then all of a sudden, they're the 3 seed, and they have to go travel
to GP.
Play GP. And, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they make it interesting.
I think so. I think that has potential to be a pretty close game, given what Roma has been this year and the circumstances surrounding the way they entered the playoffs. 1 loss and you're the 3rd seed. That's kind of stunning. So there we go. If GP does win, they'll play the winner of Alamo Heights or Lockhart in round number 2.
Probably Alamo Heights.
Looking at a second round rematch from last year.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens with that. Texas High School Football Talk. Shout out to Miller, by the way. Shout out to Veterans Memorial. They are the 5A representatives. They both play this weekend. Miller against Laredo Martin and Memorial against San Antonio Southwest. So there we go. That wraps up our show. Marcos, thank you for being here, man.
Appreciate it.
Adin, amazing job as always.
Yeah.
Cowboys and Eagles today, 2:30 pregame, 3:30 kickoff on Keys. Thank you to Jerry Plemons and Crossroads Clinical Research. Thank you to Alex Weister for getting in. And thank you to everybody who texted in and participated with the show this morning. Episode 139 is in the books. You have a great rest of your Sunday. Go Cowboys.